Hi, I'm Zyla. Before we continue, I just want to mention that 97.8% of the people watching our videos aren't subscribed. So if you enjoy our stories, please take a second to hit that subscribe button. It really helps us keep making more videos for you. I never thought I'd be that person, the one who has to call security on her own parents. But life has a funny way of showing you who people really are. Zyla, honey, we're so proud of you, my mom said last summer as I showed her photos of the Italian villa I'd purchased after my tech startup sold. The pride in her voice seemed genuine then. Thanks, Mom. It took a lot of work to get here, I replied, scrolling through pictures of the sprawling Mediterranean property with its private beach access. When can we visit? Dad chimed in from across the kitchen table, his eyes calculating as always. Maybe next year? I'm still renovating and... Christmas would be perfect, Mom interrupted. We could all celebrate in Italy. I hesitated. I was thinking of spending Christmas here, actually. Family tradition and all. My brother Tyler looked up from his phone. Come on, sis. Don't be selfish. You've got a freaking villa now. That conversation should have been my first warning. This wasn't the first time my accomplishments had been overshadowed by my family's expectations. When I landed my first major investor at 26, Mom's response was, "That's nice, dear, but when are you settling down?" Dad had added, "Real estate is the only safe investment. You should let me manage your money." I'd learned to smile through these moments, chalking them up to generational differences. My parents had always been pragmatic. Dad, a former bank manager, Mom, a retired school administrator. They believed in stability above all else, while I chased innovation and risk. You know, Tyler had said when I first showed him my business plan 3 years ago, Mom and Dad will never understand what you're doing until you're successful enough for them to brag about. He'd been right. 3 months later, I received the call. Zyla, about Christmas. Mom's voice had that artificial sweetness. We've decided to keep it intimate this year. Just us, Tyler, and his new girlfriend. Wait, you're uninviting me? I gripped the phone tighter. Don't be dramatic. We just think you're too busy with your fancy new life. The real reason came from Nadia, my best friend since college, who heard it from Tyler's girlfriend at a mutual friend's party. Your mom told everyone that since you've abandoned the family by moving to Italy, they're teaching you a lesson, Nadia explained over coffee the next day. She literally said, Zyla needs to learn that family comes first. That's rich coming from her, I scoffed. I offered to fly them all out for Christmas. They declined. Nadia raised an eyebrow. Did they know about your villa's completion before or after they uninvited you? That question haunted me until December 23rd when my security system pinged. Through the camera, I watched my parents and Tyler lugging suitcases up my villa's driveway. Surprise! Mom's voice came through the intercom when I answered. We decided to spend Christmas with you after all. In the villa you said I was selfish for buying? I asked. Water under the bridge, Dad boomed. Let us in, kiddo. It's cold out here. Tyler added, Come on, sis, don't be petty. I watched them through the security camera, standing there with 7 large suitcases. Enough for a long stay. Zyla? Mom called impatiently. The taxi's already left. I took a deep breath and pressed the intercom. I wasn't expecting visitors. We're not visitors, we're family, Mom snapped, dropping the sweet act. Now open the gate. I don't understand why you're being difficult, Mom continued through the intercom. We came all this way to see you. I stepped away from the monitor and called Nadia immediately. They're here, at my villa, with suitcases, I explained, pacing across my marble floors. The parents who uninvited you from Christmas? Those parents? Nadia asked incredulously. The very same. Apparently, they've decided I'm family again now that they want a free luxury vacation. What are you going to do? I glanced at the security feed. They were still waiting, Dad now trying to peek through the gate. I'm not sure yet. I need to understand what they're planning. I returned to the intercom. Mom, Dad, I need to run an errand. There's a nice hotel in town. I'll meet you there in an hour. Their reactions were immediate and telling. A hotel? That's ridiculous, Dad shouted. We didn't fly all the way to Italy to stay in some hotel. Mom stepped closer to the camera. Zyla, stop being childish. We're tired and we want to see this villa we've heard so much about. Yeah, Tyler added. Plus, we told everyone we'd be staying at your place. That last comment made me pause. Told everyone? Who exactly? You know, Tyler shrugged. Instagram, Facebook. Mom's already posted about our family Christmas at Zyla's Italian villa. I felt a familiar knot form in my stomach. The same one I'd had during business negotiations when I realized the other party was operating in bad faith. This wasn't a spontaneous visit. This was calculated. I called my lawyer next, Antonio, who'd helped with the villa purchase and had become a trusted advisor during my relocation to Italy. They have no legal right to enter your property, he confirmed after I explained. And if they've been posting about staying there without your permission, that could constitute attempted fraud or misrepresentation. What should I do? Document everything. Record your conversations. If they make threats or become aggressive, contact local authorities. I arranged to meet my family at a cafe in town. When I arrived, Mom was already complaining loudly to the server about the menu. There you are, she spotted me. Finally. Now, about getting to your villa. We need to talk first, I interrupted, sitting down. Dad leaned forward. Sweetheart, we know you're upset about Christmas, but we're here now. Let's move past it. Why did you tell everyone you'd be staying at my villa without asking me? Mom waved dismissively. We knew you'd say yes. You're always so generous. Except when I was selfish for buying it? I asked pointedly. Did Tyler tell you that? Mom glared at my brother. He misunderstood. Tyler fidgeted with his coffee cup. Look, sis, I know they said some stuff, but they've been planning this trip for months. They even rented out our house over Christmas to afford the flights. I nearly choked. You what? It's just for 2 weeks, Dad said quickly. We figured we'd stay with you until mid-January. 2 weeks? You uninvited me from our family Christmas and now expect to stay in my home for 2 weeks? Mom's expression hardened. We're your parents. We've given you everything. The least you could do is share your good fortune. Everything except support when I actually needed it, I replied, remembering the day I'd asked for a small loan to keep my startup afloat during a rough patch. They'd refused, calling my business a hobby that's gotten out of hand. We were protecting you from failure, Dad said, as if reading my thoughts. And look, you succeeded anyway. That proves we were right. The server brought our drinks, his expression sympathetic as he caught snippets of our conversation. Is it so wrong to want to spend time with our daughter? Mom asked him in broken Italian, clearly seeking an ally. La familia è importante, he replied diplomatically before walking away. See? Mom turned to me triumphantly. Family is important. Even strangers understand that. Everything? I repeated, my voice steady despite the anger bubbling inside. Like support when I worked 60-hour weeks to build my company? Or how about respect for my accomplishments instead of calling me selfish? You've always been so dramatic, Mom sighed, glancing around the cafe as if seeking sympathetic observers. We're proud of you, of course, but success has clearly changed you. It has, I agreed. I've learned to value myself and recognize when I'm being used. Dad's face reddened. Used? We're your family. Family doesn't disinvite family from Christmas, then show up uninvited when they want something. We thought you'd be happy to see us, Mom said, her voice shifting to a wounded tone. After all, we raised you. And I'm grateful for that, but it doesn't entitle you to my home. Tyler, who'd been quiet, finally spoke. Sis, they really don't have anywhere else to go. They rented out the house to this couple who paid up front. That sounds like a planning problem, not my problem, I replied calmly. There are lovely hotels nearby. Hotels? Dad scoffed. Do you know how much they cost here? We can't afford 2 weeks in an Italian hotel. But you could afford flights to Italy without confirming your accommodations? Mom's expression hardened. We thought family would take care of family. Like when you took care of me at Christmas? That was different. You hurt us by moving away. I took a deep breath. I built a successful company, achieved financial independence, and bought my dream home. That's not hurting you, that's living my life. Well, your choices have consequences, Dad snapped. And right now, the consequence is that your parents need a place to stay. Is that a threat? I asked. Of course not, Mom jumped in, shooting Dad a warning look. We're just disappointed. We came all this way without asking me first. We shouldn't have to ask. Dad's voice rose, causing nearby diners to turn. We're your parents. We have rights. Not to my property, you don't, I replied firmly. You've always been stubborn, Mom said, her tone shifting to one I recognized from childhood, the one that preceded punishment. Remember when you were 10 and refused to let your cousin borrow your new bike? You had to learn to share then, too. I remember, I said. The bike she broke and you refused to make her replace. Is that the lesson you wanted me to learn? That my boundaries don't matter? Boundaries? Dad barked out a laugh. Listen to you with your therapy talk. In my day, we respected our elders without all this boundary nonsense. Times change, I said simply. Not that much, he growled. You still owe us respect. Respect is earned, and it goes both ways. Tyler attempted to mediate. Can we all just calm down? Mom, Dad, Zyla has a point about asking first. Zyla, they're already here, so maybe... Stay out of this, Tyler, Mom snapped. This is between us and your ungrateful sister. Dad stood suddenly, his chair scraping loudly. This is outrageous. After everything we've done for you, I won't be treated this way by my own daughter. Robert, sit down, Mom hissed, tugging at his sleeve. No, Karen, she needs to show some respect. He pointed his finger in my face. You listen here, young lady. Either you take us to that villa right now or you can forget having parents. The cafe went silent. Tyler sank lower in his chair. Are you threatening me? I asked calmly. It's not a threat, it's a fact, Dad shouted. Family loyalty goes both ways. I stood up slowly. You're right about one thing. This conversation is over. Where are you going? Mom demanded. Home, to my villa, alone. Dad grabbed my arm as I turned to leave. You're not walking away from us. Sir, please release the lady, came a voice from behind me. The cafe owner had approached, looking concerned. Is everything all right, Signora? No, I replied clearly. This man is threatening me and refusing to let me leave. Dad released my arm, glaring at the cafe owner before turning back to me. This isn't over. I took a deep breath. Actually, it is. I'm calling the police. You would call the police on your own parents? Mom gasped. I'm calling them on people who won't take no for an answer and are physically trying to intimidate me. The local officers arrived quickly. Officer Bianchi listened to my account while her partner spoke with my family. They have no right to enter your property without permission, she confirmed. The physical restraint is concerning. Tyler approached while the officers reviewed the cafe's security footage. Zyla, this is crazy, he said quietly. They're our parents. That doesn't excuse their behavior, I replied. They chose to rent out their house, fly here without confirmation, and then try to force their way into my home. Tyler looked down. I should have stood up for you. When they said those things about you being selfish, I stayed quiet. I was wrong. The next day, Antonio arranged temporary restraining orders. My phone buzzed with a text from Tyler that evening. Mom and Dad are flying home tomorrow. The hotel wiped out their budget. They're staying with Aunt Linda until their renters leave. 3 days later, the restraining order became permanent when my parents failed to appear at the hearing. What will you do now? Nadia asked over video chat that evening. I looked around my peaceful villa. Live my best life. On my terms. Think they'll ever change? Honestly? No, but that's no longer my problem. You know, Nadia said thoughtfully, sometimes the strongest boundaries are the ones we set with the people closest to us. I nodded, watching the Mediterranean sunset from my terrace. I finally understand what Mom meant about family coming first. I just realized I'm part of that family too. Have you ever had to stand up to family members who crossed your boundaries? Share your story in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more real-life drama.